Hiya folks, today I'm going to change the oil and filter on this 2003 Vauxhall Vectra C. I did it last year and it's now come round again, so let's do it again. Right, well I changed this last year and I actually put a video on YouTube as well. You might even see that one as well. We're going to revisit this one again. I'm trying to make this video a little bit more quicker and we'll get straight onto it. First of all, we've got the filter. This type here is a standard cartridge, as you can see there, with a rubber rim on the top. We're going to be putting in 4.25 litres of 5W30. You'll hear people say they want put a 10W30 in. You do what you want. This is what the manufacturer specify. I've also jacked the car up down here on the suspension rail there. I've not taken the wheel off the floor. I've just released the tension on the spring so that I can crawl under the front of the car and crack the, I think it's a T45 torx bit on the sump nut. I've got this old oil container and all I'm going to do is make my own oil catcher just by cutting a hole. And that will be able to lay it under the car for me to catch the oil out of the sump. Now, you'll hear two trains of thought on this about drawing in the oil out of your vehicle. One will say run the car for about 10 minutes just to warm it up to make the oil thinner to run out. And the other theory is that if you do that, all the oil's going to get thrown around the engine and you won't get all the oil out. So the best thing to do is to let it sit just cold, because all the oil would have gone into the sump anyway, and it just takes a little bit longer to drain out. So you use whatever method you want. Last year when I've done this, I warmed the engine up. This year, I'm not going to. So make your own choice. Right, so I'm under the car. Here's my T45 socket I've got there. Just put that in there and just, there we go. Just cracked open nicely that time. And just undo your nut. There we go, and we'll let that drain out and then we'll take our oil filter out. Right, well, as I mentioned last year, here's our sump nut and it's got this rubber O-ring in there. If that O-ring is at all damaged in any way or you've got any seepage, you want to replace that. So that's the little torx bit there, T45. And as I showed last time, the oil filter lives just down here. Let me show you. You can probably see it just sitting down there. So that's what we're going to be removing. And my method of choice is the small chain attachment I've got for a 1/2-inch socket drive. So I'm going to be using that to get that off. I'll wait till the oil's drained out first because I want to shift that container underneath where the oil filter lives, because you will get some spillage come out of there because this oil filter is fitted in horizontally. So any oil will come out and drop onto the floor if you're not careful. There we go. Right, okay, I did break that. I'm sure I broke that seal. And it does help if you have a rubber glove on as well. Yep, I did turn it. There we go, I've got my container underneath. So I'll try and unscrew that. You'll get oil come out, but you can't alter that. And then bring it out upwards. I've caught most of the oil coming out there, as you can see. And as you can see, there's our oil filter, still filled with fluid. And this can now be thrown away, but before I do that, I will check it against the old one, just to make sure we have got the correct one. And as you can see, height and dimensions there, both exactly the same. I will get a little bit of that oil off of there and just run that around the seal on this one. You can do it with new oil, but the old oil is sufficient to do that. It just stops the rubber from grabbing when you tighten it up. So there we go, there's that. Okay then, so that's that. I've actually put the sump plug back in now. The oil's drained out. You just want to check your face of your oil filter housing just to make sure it's clean and there's no debris on it or grit or whatever. I'm just wiping a cloth around there. You can't really see that, so I can see that now that's clean and dry. And literally just get your new filter and literally just screw it back on. Now again, this should turn very, very easily by hand until you get to the turn up, tighten up point. And then you want to make sure your hands are dry from grease or free from grease. Good if you've got a pair of rubber gloves, put them on. And then turn that up as tight as you can, hand tight. Now, if you're uncomfortable with that or you ain't got a very good grip for whatever reason, then there are a selection of tools you can use to do that. I've got two hands on it and I'm happy with that, as I was last year when I've done exactly the same job. Right, okay, that's that. Let's now top the oil up, 4.25 litres. We'll get 3/4 of this in and then we'll do a dip measure, start the engine up, run the engine, get it lubricated round, because you'll find that the level will drop as well. So let's fill this up. Right, okay then, that's probably about 4 litres in there. I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Put that cap back on. We will take a dipstick reading just to see where it is at, but we will expect it to drop after we start the engine. Again, I mentioned on last year's video, the bottom one is obviously the low setting, then you've got quarter, half, 3/4, full. So anywhere in that spectrum we're looking for at this time. Right, well at the moment, it's right up to the top there, I don't know if you can see that, so that's fine at the moment. We know it's going to drop because it's got to fill the oil filter up and obviously circulate around the engine. So upon startup, two things we're looking for. One is we're looking for the oil to circulate around the engine and the level will drop. And two, we're going to check the oil filter and also the sump plug to see if we've got any leaks. So I'm going to start the car up now and we'll take it from there. Right, okay, let's start it up. Now I don't want to be revving this. I'm just waiting until the oil light goes out. And the oil light's out. So I'm just going to let this tick over for a minute and I'll just have a little visual inspection just to make sure we've got no oil seeping out and everything is fine. Right, just give it a minute or two and we'll finally check this oil again. I must say this car, in the year that we've just drove it, we've not had to top this oil up once. It stayed up to level all the time. Just shows you how good this engine is. Right, well it's down to 3/4 now, so I am just going to add a drop more and then we'll call it a day. I think that'll do it. And again, don't get overfilling these things, or any vehicle. It can do just as much damage as underfilling it, so just to be careful of that, because you can start blowing oil seals out and things like that, so just be aware of that. There we go, right to the top of the mark, just where it should be. Okay, that's it, job done. So there you go, another quick oil change there for you, oil and filter change. Pretty much the same as last year, but as I say, the only difference is this time we didn't warm the engine up, and to be honest with you, I think we got the same result, so you can make your own choice on that one. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and do check out my other videos on the Vauxhall Vectra and also the Vauxhall Signum. I've got 2 playlists there, and if you do like our channel, just hit the subscribe button down there and also ring that little notification bell, and that means that you'll be uploaded every time that we upload a video. Anyway, thanks very much, see you in the next video, and bye for now.